I might still be working on this, but I might not be. I don't know. This is called Two Nights in Sagaponack. On the South Fork of Long Island, sandwiched between Bridgehampton to the west, East Hampton to the east, and Sag Harbor to the north, Sagaponack is the wealthiest zip code in New York and the second wealthiest in the United States. It is one of the Hamptons, that infamous cluster of millionaire retreats where many Americans wish they lived. Sagaponack, like the rest of the South Fork, is a place where the rich thrive, especially in the summer. It is littered with McMansions, actual mansions, and as of 2012, Sagaponack retains what the media refers to as the Versailles of New York, Fairfield Palace, a monstrous home built by a timeshare magnate with abysmal architectural taste. Red's friend Rima has a home in Sagaponack and has invited Red, Julie, and myself to join her for the weekend. Red and Rima have been friends since they were children. Red is Julie's grandfather and was instrumental in my decision to launch a startup. He had been so successful at running his own out-of-home business that I was sure I could do it too. We hadn't taken into consideration that we didn't have the experience he had, which was equivalent to several prestigious degrees worth of real-world hustling. Receiving an invitation to stay in a rich person's house, at least for me, was an opportunity to talk about my business. Everyone's a potential investor. Julie and Red insist that this woman, Rima, has absolutely no interest in me or my endeavors. She has enough money to splurge until the end of her life, Red says, and that's all you need to understand about Rima. We meet up with Red near Rima's Upper East Side townhouse. Every car parked on her block is either a BMW or Mercedes. Rima doesn't park her car on the street, a point she makes with a subdued growl and curling of her upper lip. She pays the monthly fee to hold it up in a garage a few blocks over. Rima drives us out to Long Island in her Lexus. As we cross the 59th Street Bridge, I'm thinking about Gatsby and Fitzgerald and just how grossly real it all is. We're not through Queens when Red and Rima start arguing, and they argue all the way, occasionally breaking for some reminiscing of the good old times, but then more arguing and sometimes debating about religion or politics, all those forbidden topics. Rima is the owner of a management company that operates several residential buildings throughout New York City, mainly in Manhattan. Naturally, we work our way to discussing the escalating rents that plague the city and how difficult it is for people with average incomes. Rima could give a flying fuck. Within the first half hour, I make a decision. I'm going to get under Rima's skin. I tell her of a guy I knew at Crossroads. He paid $300 a month for a one-bedroom on Bleecker Street because his parents had been renting it since the 1980s. Rima says, "That's nothing to celebrate, that's obnoxious." And Rima's response is exactly the thinking of all the property owners in New York. Rima makes it clear that she finds it unfair and insists that landlords have it hard. She plays the victim, the hard worker. It seems, I say, that it doesn't matter who a person is, just how deep their pockets are. That's all that matters, Rima says. I tell Rima that this is exactly why there is no real community in New York City. There is community, Rima says. It just doesn't include undesirables. Wow, I say as we enter town, look at all this money. This is what normality looks like, Rima says. This is what normality for your class looks like, I say, observing a helicopter landing on a nearby lawn. Class, Rima barks? This is America. There are no classes, just those that work and those that don't. You don't think this is a class society, says Julie, waking from a nap? Go to Bronxville and look at all the teenagers driving around in Mini Coopes and BMWs, then go into Mount Vernon and see what everyone else is getting around in. Rima's house is a postmodern gray compilation of angled slabs, a design indicative of the era it was built. It's essentially a work of modern art with plumbing. Although designed and engineered by a famous architect, Rima insists that it's not his best work. Well, I'd like to have a home like this, I say. Rima stares up at me, analyzes me. You don't know the better, she says, because you have nothing. This is a garbage pail. Inside, there are 3 levels of living space, an entire guest wing with 10 hotel-style bedrooms and individual bathrooms, an elevator connecting all levels. The main room has an entertainment nook, grand piano, and fully stocked bar. The walls and ceiling are engineered for acoustic amplification. As Rima gives us the tour, she doesn't mention any of this. As Rima gives us the tour, all she does is complain about everything that's wrong with the place. Rima's pool, as Julie describes, is shaped like a spleen. Rima insists that it's shaped like a bean. I have no opinion on it. Can I get your advice, Ezzy? Rima says. Sure, happy to help any way I can. I have this huge heating bill, and I know you're one of those economic people. You live on 173rd Street, right? You must have many ideas on how to save money. Like, don't heat the pool kind of ideas, or don't have a pool at all? Well, I have to heat the pool. I wouldn't be able to swim otherwise. Rima doesn't seem to hear herself talk. I want to be helpful to her, so rather than pointing out that the ocean is a 2-minute walk over, I offer up an idea. I suppose, I say, you could install solar panels and then have them directed to a battery, have the heating mechanism hooked up to a timer that draws from the battery. That way you're not taking from the grid. Well, she says, frustrated, I'm not trying to save the world, I just want to save money. Rima is not the first wealthy person I've known, but she is the first I came to understand and essential in my understanding of how it is they maintain their wealth. They have no interest in the betterment of the world. Their investments are nearsighted, they're litigious, they have no interest in cleaning up their messes. This is their gift to the next generation, a world used by generations of upper-class humans who didn't give a fuck. They consumed and consumed and consumed and left the world to be repaired by us and our sons and daughters, nephews and nieces, and their children's children. I decide that Rima's pool isn't shaped like a spleen or a bean. Rima's pool is shaped like a germ.